Next, we have Zenit. I think you're all familiar with their listing in the stock market. This is their private arm, which goes with Zenit Mobile Solutions. And um, we have the head of marketing, Krishal, who is heavily involved in the AI initiatives at Zenit Mobile and also heads what we call HelloSprout.ai. He began his career in electronic marketing and advertising, and is a digital marketing and in digital marketing. But now he's an AI product leader, and he has an interesting motto, which is life is all about learning and growing. So I invite Krishal now on stage to share his presentation.
Right. Thank you, Abhita, for that warm introduction. My name is Krishal, as Abhita mentioned. So I'm from Zenit Mobile Solutions, and currently I'm attached to a product called HelloSprout.ai, which is actually an AI agent that we have built internally. So just to give you a brief introduction about what Zenit Mobile does is we have started our company. We have started we have started Zenit Mobile as a telco middleware solutions company, but we have we have now grown into a AI enterprise company. So today, I'm going to actually share with you some insights that I'm pretty sure that it'll be helpful for y'all. And go and apply those things in the companies that you all work in or your organizations, right? So basically, we have understood two use cases, and we will explain what are the insights of that and what are the learnings that we have had from that, right? So without further ado, I'll go with the presentation. So basically, so today, entire day, you all have actually learned about a lot of LLMs. I think the session has been very interesting. I was there and I was looking at it, very insightful. So this session is actually about language of anxiousness, right? So without further ado, I'll get into the session. So I want to ask you all a question. How many of you all know this guy? Have you all seen this person? What's Travel with Monkey, right? So the point is this. We believe that AI is here to make us more human than we are today. But if you look at this kind of AI content that you see in the recent past, you would have seen a lot of AI contents coming around, like some hilarious ones going viral. But when we see stuff like this, we might think, is it going to make us more human, right? So that's the question. But we believe that AI is here to make us more human than we are, and let me explain you why. So this is actually a use case that we have found out. In Chelsea Westminster NHS Trust, they are actually piloting an AI-assisted tool to basically automate the discharge summary. So these are the papers that is needed once a patient is fit to leave the hospital. So there are certain paperwork that needs to be done, right? Even in Sri Lanka, this is common, right? So normally, if you take in a normal scenario, a doctor would actually spend about 15 to 20 minutes to do this paperwork. So basically, copying the test results and writing the summaries, and also like attaching prescriptions, and the best thing is if you multiply this by 12 or dozen patients, you suddenly have hours of highly trained doctors. They are working as clerks, right? So the result of this is basically the patients who are fit to leave were stuck in the hospital, and because the paperwork was the bottleneck, right? So this tool itself is a part of the UK government's AI Exampler program. So with this tool, what they're doing is those letters, those discharge papers letters were drafted instantly, doctor reviews, and then the patient goes home. So the point in this use case is AI didn't went and replace the doctors, right? It what it gave the doctors was the time to spend more time with their patients, right? So because as a doctor, we all know, as a doctor has to understand the patient, listen to the patient. So with all this clerical work, what happens is doctor actually just, you are working as a clerk and you're just doing the job. But the point is, with this use case, hospital beds in NHS will actually free up faster, and patients will be able to go home faster once they are fit to leave. And as a result, NHS will be able to serve more patients in UK. So this is one of the issues that NHS had a few years back. They were struggling with a lot of facilities and stuff like that. So these are some of the initiatives that they're taking, and not only in UK, but in US also, we see similar cases where, like, for example, when you go to a consultation session, the doctor actually has to sit down once the patient leaves, write the prescription, take the notes and everything. But currently what they're doing is they are doing it through AI transcripts. So what doctor only does is approve the summarization that provided by AI. So these are the use cases that we have seen so far growing up, right? So the point is this: AI is actually not here to replace human skills. It is here to replace waiting, right? So if you look at this video.
Breathe in the present moment, a wave of calm and light. Exhale all that holds you back.
This beautiful salmon is from the crisp waters of Hokkaido. Please enjoy its fresh flavor.
This is taking forever!
I know, right?
So the point is this. Now, I'm coming from a marketing and production environment, from background like that. For us to make a video like this in the past, it would have taken days, weeks, even more, right? But now it's just, few prompts, you would be able to get things done. I think in the session also, you all have seen how fast things can be done, right? But the thing is, these kind of things are already happening, and AI is actually replacing waiting every day in our life. In whatever we do, you all probably would have learned today that, using AI, you can actually replace waiting. You don't have to wait. But the real question is, why is it so important for us to replace waiting, right? So if you take the UK government use case that we just discussed, it basically, they decided to do something about the patients waiting, right? The question is why? Why did they think that it is so important, right? Because what we need to understand is when someone is waiting, they are not just idle, right? They are not just waiting just without doing anything, right? They are left without communication. So when someone is waiting, means that, you are opening the door for them to, lose trust about you or your brand or your company, about yourself, right? So, but if you take meaningful communication, whatever the meaningful communication that happens actually has drive the humanity forward, right? So when the meaningful communication is lost between organizations or humans, what happens is we are actually dragging the humanity backwards in a different way, right? So if you take from the eras of letters to the telephone to the internet, what we have done is we have made sure the humanity went forward and the progress happened, right? Because when progress happens, what we need to understand is when progress happens, what happens is we are actually shortening the distance between a question and an answer, right? So that's why we are saying that AI is not here to replace human skills. They are here to basically replace waiting. So now all that I said up to now may sound good or may make sense, right? But there is a disclaimer, right? What we need to understand is that there is a dilemma that we need to first figure out before even considering, using AI to replace weight in inside an organization, right? Because doing this inside an organization is not easy as we are trying to do something using ChatGPT by doing a prompt, right? Because when you actually try to do this inside an organization using AI, you need to be 100% sure that the implementation, the AI implementation that you are going to do is going to bring you ROI, right? So one of the discussions that happened in the National AI Expo this week was that they were saying that we should not look at AI as a technology, we should look at AI as a business transformation strategy, right? So when you look at from that angle, if you are using AI as a business transformation strategy, you need to be sure that strategy is going to bring you ROI, right? You can have AI developments, AI deployments internally, but if it's not giving you ROI, then there's a thing that you need to consider, right? But sadly, currently, this is not the case. Globally, this is not the case because according to the latest report that was out by MIT, which basically the state of AI in business 2025. So according to this report, 95% of the AI deployments is actually showing zero ROI, right? So the only thing that is actually visible is the the individual level productivity. I think this session is all about individual level productivities. I think you all learn a lot of things, which actually shows a lot of results, right? But there is no recorded or there is no real impact on the P&L, right? So this may sound like a very bad news, right? Especially for people like us. We day in, day out, we go and talk about AI solutions, but this is the reality, right? But in fact, this is actually very good news because there are 5% that is working, right? So some of the things that we have understood is, according to the report also, right? So there are 5% of deployments have actually worked. So it's best for us to understand what are these 5% that is working. Because you can think, okay, now AI is here, you can do this, you can do that. But in reality, that's not the case. There are very selected use cases that actually works and that gives you ROI, right? So according to this report, it outlines that ROI is often on the front office tools and the back office tools, right? So front office, there are front office wins and back office wins, right? So if you take the front office wins, you have lead qualification and customer service and support, and AI-powered push notifications and messaging. And when it comes to the back office wins, you have document processing, creative and content generation, and then risk management. I think today in the session, what you all mainly did was content generation, those kind of things. So these kind of things have value, and these kind of things will give you ROI, right? So if you really look at, like, now I'm coming from Zenith Mobile, so we have been very lucky that we have been able to work with some of these use cases in the recent past. So I can show you, I'm going to show you 2 use cases. So one use case is basically the document processing use case, right? So currently, we have actually done a deployment in this document processing use case. It's very simple, right? So we have done it with a real estate company in Philippines. So the use case is buyer has an intent to buy a property, right? And then once the buyer is okay to buy the property, you have to fill a form, right? And this form is not a 1 or 2 question form. It's a huge form, right? There's a lot of details you need to put in, right? And then once you fill the form, there are documents that you need to update, like ID, your passport, maybe your salary slip, likewise. So the last stage is basically the verification stage. So on a normal day, how this would happen is a back office person sitting on a chair, what they do is they cross-check the document with the application to see whether it matches. Is the name right? Is the ID number right? Is the passport number? Is the salary slip details right? So all of these things, I mean, imagine you have 100 applications like this, 100 forms like this, how much of time a back office would operate to verify this, right? What we have done is, using AI and using vision AI models, we have automated this task. What happens is, we take the document and we cross-check with the application, right? So if you take in Sri Lankan context, these are actually some of the highly available use cases in Sri Lanka, because in Sri Lanka we love forms. You want to apply a loan, fill a form. You want to take a house, fill a form. Anything if there's anything that is related forms and documents, you can automate these things very easily. Using Gen AI, you can do this, and we have done it, and this actually gives notable ROI to your P&L, right? So this is not only for this kind of use cases. For example, if you take purchase order versus job order, you can, I mean, there are cases like, for example, did we deliver according to PO, right? Invoice versus items, and bank loan application, as I mentioned. So these use cases are actually working, and these use cases will give you ROI, right? So moving on, so remember I told you there's another win that you can get from the front office, right? The front office tools also will give you wins that brings you ROI, right? So lead qualification, customer service and support, AI-powered push notifications and messages are one of the other things. So if you really look at all of these cases, all of these wins are related to communication, right? So here's the thing. When you are using AI for communication, you are actually playing with the very heartbeat of your organization, right? So communication, when you specifically take customer communication, it's not a cost center for any business, it's a brand asset, right? So every answer that you give using AI or that you provide to a customer is going to tell your customer who you are, very simple, right? So that's why even before you consider using AI for your customer communication, there are 3 questions as leaders, as organizational leaders, we need to answer. So the 3 questions are, the first one is, what is the risk of change versus the risk of standing still? Whether you do it or not, that's the first question you need to answer. The second question is the fear of replacing people is greater than the opportunity to free them from mundane work, right? The third question is, where do we start without breaking the culture? Because AI itself is a culture change, right? So here's the insight, right? If you really look at it, if you can answer the third question right out of these 3, you will solve the rest of the 2 automatically. Because the moment you start in the right place, right? You take away the fear of change, you remove the fear of replacement. The right starting point is what sets your culture, right? Now what we need to understand is, what is the right place to start, right? So we at Sprout, at HelloSprout.ai, we believe that meaningful communication drives humanity forward. And at Zenith Mobile Solution, we have been in the communication domain for over 20 plus years. We've been working with telcos. We have been working with a lot of enterprises, mainly providing communication, right? So what we have done is to understand where an organization should start using AI for their communication. We have analyzed the intents of 1 million conversations, 1 million meaningful conversations that has happened during the last 12 to 18 months, right? So also from multiple industries, right? So we used patterns like word clouds and pattern analysis to understand what customers ask and what the live agents actually hate doing, right? So from this, we have understood that there are another 3 non-negotiable factors that you need to understand which will give you the clarity where you need to start using AI, right? So these are the non-negotiable factors, right? So based on the data, first you must understand that you need to choose use cases that customers are comfortable getting answers from an AI. Because, you wouldn't like, I mean, I think in the previous session also said, you don't want an AI agent to tell you, okay, enter your card in the chat box, right? You don't do that, right? So there are certain use cases that users are okay to get answers from an AI, right? Not, I mean, that's the case, right? So the second thing is the selected use cases. Let's say you select X 1, 2, 3 use cases. So those use cases should improve the employee productivity, not replace them, right? Because this is about making your team stronger, not necessarily smaller, okay? So the third thing is, when you identify these use cases, the identified use cases should be the use cases that SDRs and live agents hate doing, because these are repetitive and these are going to wear them down, right? So when we applied these three patterns, these three factors to the chats, the conversations that happen, we understood a very nice pattern which was showed again and again, right? So the industries that we have analyzed is, you can see manufacturing, food and beverage, automotive, sports management, real estate, confectionaries, retail, e-commerce, education, telecom, banking, and healthcare. So these intents that you see, the 4 intents: pricing, order status, product info, location, and branches, right? So these 4 communication flows, the best thing is these 4 communication flows, you can safely automate within the next 24 hours without even touching your core systems, right? Because these are customer approved intents. They are okay to get answers for this from AI, right? These are factual and it's repetitive, and also it's customer approved, as I mentioned, right? And as you can see, together these 4 intents is 28% of the overall communications, right? Which means more than quarter of your communications you can actually automate using AI, right? And this doesn't stop here, right? We need to understand what is the story behind these intents, right? We need to go a bit deeper to understand why these things are repetitive and why people keep on asking these questions from businesses, right? So I would like to take you much deeper to understand this. We would actually like to go to the human brain, how these questions function inside human brain, right? So we often think that people make decisions logically, right? But the biology actually says something else, right? There are 2 parts at play here, right? So we have in our brain, we have mainly 2 parts working. One is the neocortex, which is the outer layer, right? So this basically is the rational brain, right? Where facts, analysis, and numbers, and language lives in the neocortex, right? This is brilliant for analysis, right? But it doesn't necessarily drive action. So all the rational things that we say, all the rationalities that we build is coming from the neocortex, right? And the other part is the limbic brain. So limbic brain is the deeper system inside our brain, and this is where trust, loyalty, feelings come from, right? So it's where all human behavior and all decision making happens, right? But here's the key: the limbic brain doesn't have the capacity for language, right? It doesn't know how to tell what you feel, right? So if I may ask you a simple question, I mean, this is a bit of a personal question, but if I ask you, like, why did you all get married to the partner that you all got married to, you would definitely give a rational answer saying, oh, okay, the person takes care of me, she understands me, or he understands me, right? But even if my wife asks, I would say the same thing, right? But the reality is, it's a feeling that I got, and I felt right. I got married, right? This is because I don't know how to articulate that and say that, this is the reason this happened, right? So if you look at from this angle, right? If you look at from this angle, that means a customer or a lead or a prospect will never come and say to you, look here, now you know these 4 intents. If you go and automate these 4, I will trust you, I will be loyal to you, and I will buy from you. They are not going to say that, because they don't have words for it, right? The part of their brain making the decisions doesn't use words, it uses feelings, right? And that is why the analysis that we have done is actually very powerful, mainly because these 4 intents that we identified these are not just common FAQs, right? They are limbic brain triggers, right? Signals of anxiousness that your customers have, but they cannot articulate, right? I mean, if you look at this, think about it. Why would a person ask about pricing? Like, you ask about pricing. The point is, the anxiety that they have is, can I afford this? Or will I get the value, right? When you say order delivery status, you're asking about this, will I actually get it? Can I trust this promise, right? The 4th one is product info. Am I making the right choice? Do I know enough? Then finally, location and branches, can I access this easily, or am I wasting my time, right? So if you really look at it, every one of these moments are moments of uncertainty, right? So the truth is, these intents are repetitive for a reason, right? Because when your leads or prospects ask these kind of questions, maybe 1,000 times from your agents, it's not that, they love bothering them, or just, they have some level of entertainment doing that, right? It's because these moments carry weight for them, right? They matter to them, and these are the make or break trust points for them, right? So when you automate these questions and when you automate answers for this, instantly, with clarity, and do it consistently, you are not just reducing support tickets, you are removing the anxiety, and you are replacing waiting, right? So you are calming the limbic brain when you automate these things for your customers, right? And you are creating a condition for trust, for loyalty, and finally for buying decisions to fall in your favor, right? That's why we say that these 4 intents are not just repetitive questions, they are the language of anxiousness, right? So if you are ready to, if you want to replace the anxiousness with clarity, we would like to, from hellosprout.ai, with no strings attached, we will give you a free POC for 60 days for your organization in any channel you want, whether it's WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, website, name it. We will do it free FOC for you, because you will understand the value that you can deliver to your customers by automating these queries, right? So the meanwhile, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. No questions? Right? Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Krishal, for presentation. And so there's some great content, and for many of you, feel free to test out the product, because I've personally used it, and it's been great. Excellent tool for your sales, and it's almost like a chatbot setup, which is intuitive. So have a try and see how it goes. So that's actually the end of our session. I hope all of you all took something away that's valuable, and the contact details will be shared. You can at any point contact the secretariat. The number was on the flyer that was shared. So you feel free to reach out and get any other details you need. In the meantime, so thank you very much again for your attendance, and we'll hope to see you all soon. Thank you.